God, I don't know if I just swallowed a bug or what just happened. Good morning, camper. Thought I'd give you a quick look at my campsite that I was at last night on Friday the 13th before I head out. So there, as you can see, is where my tent was. Those are my trekking poles. And the trail is literally right there. You can see the sign. This is the trail. So that's how close I was to the trail. It was right there in that dry spot. I am headed to the Leroy Smith shelter. It is only 6.1 miles from here, as this sign indicates. Because it's calling for more rain and thunderstorms this afternoon. And I want to try to avoid that at all costs, if at all possible. So there were 3 of us here. There was another guy in a tent. Dry patch in the center of the screen. And then there was a guy hammocking right here. That was Ash. Ash was hammocking. Was off and on yesterday, enough to be annoying. Last night, as soon as I got my tent up, it started raining, and then it eventually stopped, and I was able to cook and eat dinner outside my tent. And then it kind of rained off and on throughout the night. Today, I think it's more the same. As you can see, it's kind of foggy. And I'm hoping to get to the shelter. It's only 6 miles. And there's a privy there. There's no privy here. So I got to get there and do my business, if you know what I mean. Clearly, I'm still in Rocksylvania. Got all this nonsense to step around and over and through. Sharp, pointy rocks sticking up everywhere. It's like a minefield. So this slows me down, number 1. Number 2, it hurts. Pointy rocks, the ones that are sticking up like that, I mean, you step on that, you feel it. Plus they're wet, so they can be slippery. It's going to take me a little longer than normal to get to the shelter. I can't maintain 2 miles an hour over terrain like this. Oh, we have a tree down. People blazed a little bypass around it here. At least the rain is holding off. It's just kind of dripping off the trees here and there. But yeah, I mean, this stuff is really an impediment to making progress. So I'm glad I'm only going 6 miles, especially if the whole way is like this. Holy cow. God, I don't know if I just swallowed a bug or what just happened. So at 3 o'clock, I'll check my progress, see how much farther I have, so I know when to be looking for those campsites, the tent sites. That's what's going on. The trail is, a mixed bag right now. It was really rocky to begin with. It was pretty bad. Now it's kind of just annoying rocks that I can get around, but, I have to really pay attention. Because this is really, as you can see, it's just slow going, picking your way through this and trying to be careful not to twist an ankle or slip. So I'm about halfway to the shelter. I took off my raincoat. As you can see, I'm starting to get a little muggy. It hasn't rained, just some dripping off the trees. And it's still foggy, misty, foggy. It's not too cold, not too warm. It's probably 60 if I had to guess. But I don't want to be in my tent in a thunderstorm. I don't want to be trapped inside, with all my stuff wet, just cramped in there and nowhere to cook. Not much to see, sorry, it's just more and more of this the whole way. Well, the trail had gotten easy for a while. Now it's gotten rocky again, so I'm slowing way down again. I keep seeing these little webs, which I don't think are spider webs. I think these are made by some kind of caterpillar, maybe? All I know is they're all over the forest. But I think they're made by a caterpillar, but I never see the caterpillar. It's really weird that this tree would just snap like that, about 7 or 8 feet off the ground. I can understand if another tree hit it, but there's no other tree laying around here. And it looks like a healthy tree, just snapped. Another one of those AT markers. This is Appalachian National Scenic Trail, survey marker, do not disturb, with the AT symbol in the middle. It makes about the third or fourth one of these I've seen. Okay, so here's a tip. When you're hiking the Appalachian Trail, don't be thrown off by those types of blazes. That big white splotchy thing is not an Appalachian Trail blaze. This is an Appalachian Trail blaze. Now this one's kind of indistinct. That big white splotch over there, that marks the edge of the game land boundary. I don't know if that's specific to Pennsylvania. It's the only state I've seen that so far. But you will sometimes look off to the side and suddenly you'll see a white splotch on a tree. You'll be like, oh my God, is that the trail? But no, the trail again is marked by these vertical, rectangular, 2-inch by 6-inch blazes. So when you see, there's another one right there in the middle of the screen. Okay, that's not an Appalachian Trail blaze. You can see it's big, it's wide, it's indistinct. Sometimes they're round. They're very splotchy and messy looking. Appalachian Trail blazes typically are much neater. They're that vertical rectangle like this. So this is what you want to look for, not those big white splotchy things, because those indicate the game land boundary and they will lead you astray. All right, Leroy Smith Shelter that way. Then you got 4.6 Kirkridge Shelter, 13.8. That's what I'm doing tomorrow. Delaware Water got 20.2. So that's where I'm heading. I'm gonna at least take a break, make my decision. Do I stay or do I go? On the way down to the shelter, they indicate there's a tent site over here. It's nice. They don't usually sign that, but you can see back there, you could set up some tents. Okay, I saw that tree stump off the side of the trail and it freaked me out for a second because it looks like either a bear cub or a fox or something, some kind of critter, but you're walking along and you see that, you know, black dog or what, holy crap. That was pretty funny. And here we are arriving at the Leroy A. Smith, I should say, shelter. Looks like they've spruced it up a little bit, you know, it's been painted and not too bad. I don't know what the duct tape's all about, but I'll make my decision after I check the weather report. As you can see, I decided I'm gonna push on. There's a tent site in Guthook, 3.4 miles from here. I'm trying to beat the rain. Wish I'd started a little bit earlier. They're calling for possible thunderstorms starting sometime between 2 and 3, so it's 2 o'clock right now. I haven't heard any thunder. I looked at the weather map. You know, there's little tiny stuff popping up here and there to the west and to the south of us. I'm hoping nothing's going to develop in the next 90 minutes. If I stayed at the shelter, yes, I'd be dry and whatnot. It'd be more convenient. There's a privy there and so on. But it also makes for about a 14-mile day tomorrow. So what happens today is I'm filled up right now. I have 3 liters of water, so I'm a little heavy. My pack's a little heavy right now. That 3 liters of water has to last me until tomorrow, about 7 miles into my hike tomorrow. Now, that's important because the next shelter doesn't have a reliable water source. Although someone posted on Guthook that there's a spigot or something 100 yards away, but my understanding is that that was turned off. But someone just said a couple days ago that the spigot was working. So I don't know what to think. Now the other wrinkle is it's supposed to be raining tomorrow, but I guess we'll see because it was supposed to be raining today. Hasn't rained on me once today. It makes for a shorter day tomorrow. It makes for, instead of an almost 14-mile hike, it brings it down closer to a 10-mile hike, 10 and a half. It'll get me into the shelter earlier, so I'll have more time to kind of relax and dry out and claim my spot in the shelter. You know, Pennsylvania is a little dicey, northern Pennsylvania, when it comes to water, especially later in the season. If you're hiking this in, say, after mid-June, July, you better have plenty of bottles to carry water, because you may be carrying water for 20 or 30 miles. So luckily that's the one plus with these rainstorms, is all these springs that are normally unreliable are reliable now. As you can see, I put on my raincoat It sprinkled a little bit, then it stopped. That happens a lot. So I waited, and it started sprinkling again. And it didn't stop right away. So I thought, oh boy, I don't want to play this game. So I threw on my jacket, and sure enough, after I got my jacket on, I started hiking again. It stopped. But I'm afraid to take off my jacket because it might start again. I don't want to keep stopping and putting on, taking off, putting on, taking off. That just eats up more time. I don't know if I just swallowed a bug or what just happened. As you can see, I made it to my tent spot. Set up my tent before the rain started. Even managed to make dinner, have dinner, get ready for bed. So I'm gonna get up early tomorrow, about 5:30. Pack up. Hopefully get on the trail around 7. So it's supposed to be raining tomorrow. It's gonna be kind of yucky. And they've got a 0 day on Tuesday. Monday I hike into Delaware Water Gap, get a hotel, and